I run a sales team, regional sales team for solar.
That's right. What company is the solar?
Plug PV. We got 30, 40 guys that work with me.
He's all work, I'm all play.
And they're doing sales, basically.
Correct.
And they're
Door to door.
They're just hammering on doors, talking about energy costs, right?
Correct.
All right. What's the end goal for the podcast?
Building brand awareness for Zac Dingee as a business person.
Yep.
And Tony as a personality.
Yeah.
Oh, you fuckers want to be famous. How many people you have watching or listening to this thing?
5,000 probably. That's the most we've had so
What the
far.
fuck are we doing here, George? Anybody know? 5,000? What the fuck is that? Who booked this?
Wait a second.
Who said I would come here?
Wait, as far as I remember, the whole reason you went into Shark Tank 2008 was to help people to build a platform, correct?
Yeah, but they had a platform. What the fuck is this?
Hopefully you get us to 50,000.
Pray that somebody's
Oh, they're gonna pimp me out. All right, come on, let's
get her going.
Let's get this shit over with.
You ready?
You know, guys multiply anything they claim they've done by 3, and women reduce it by 3. You know that, right?
That's correct.
Okay, let's go.
You're probably about right.
Okay.
Welcome back to the Two Dudes, Three Legs show with your host, Zac Dingee Tony Cappelletti, where we share business tips, interview experts, and travel the world. Today, we have a special guest on, founder of FUBU, founder of Shark Group, business mogul, investor, cancer survivor, maybe most importantly, known as the People's Shark on Shark Tank. Welcome to the show, Daymond John.
Thanks for having me. Beautiful art around here. This is beautiful stuff, man.
Thank you. Local artist.
Today we are seeking $1 million for
Yeah.
0.5% in the Two Dudes, Three Legs podcast.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Low
I know,
evaluation,
it's-
not too much yet.
It could go bigger than that, I know.
It could.
But in all seriousness, we're very excited to have you on, obviously.
Thank you.
We're sort of work and play here. Zach is the business mogul. Like I explained, went through an accident, sort of changed the way my outlook on
Do you
life.
always dress up so nice?
No, come on, we're on.
So why are
we're
you
on
dressing
Every
the
now and then.
Yeah.
We figured we had to.
Guys are looking sharp.
I'll use any
Excellent.
excuse
I like
to
the
come
ink.
out and get sexy.
Thank you.
Okay. Beautiful.
We feel that the trajectory of your life very much matches the theme of our show. You know, you've worked very hard your whole life. You've made a huge name for yourself. I mean, I don't think that even needs to be said. And then later on, you know, in your journey, you faced something very tragic and came out on top. And I think that, you know, for me, that changed my life in a huge way. Everything I do now is different. The way I look at everything is different. And I'm sure you can relate to that in a big way.
Sure.
So you've sort of lived almost what him and I have been experiencing in our short life so far.
How old are you guys?
I'm 30.
23.
Okay. Got it.
So, you know, I think you can speak to a lot of that. What we wanted to ask is, are you ready to invest?
I am not, but
All right, so you've always wanted to be a businessman since you were young, but then it really turned into you being on TV. Did you ever want to be on TV?
I did want to be on TV at first, but I happened to grow up in Hollis, Queens, where for some reason in Hollis, Queens, this little small area, came majority of the hip hop artists in the 80s and 90s. You know, I would see Run DMC driving on the block, or Salt and Pepper, or LL Cool J. The guys from Onyx would be my barbers, or Ja Rule. We hung out down the block. Waka Flocka lived 3 doors
All
away
of them.
from me. Intro, some of the Fat Boys lived there. Tribe Called Quest, anybody and everybody, right? I was on the first major national tour called the Fresh Fest, and I remember being on that tour about 14 years old, just pushing around speakers, and it was like Rakim, Public Enemy, and all these other acts, and I wanted to be, hopefully, one day on TV. I was a break dancer earlier on. I remember auditioned with Houdini. They said they would take me on tour, and I was around 15, 16, and my mother said, hell no, you ain't going on a goddamn tour. Because when I was on tour, I would just go and drive my car when they're in like Troy, New York, or actually when they were over at the Civic Center here, I would drive my car up and just hang out and then go back home. But so she didn't want me on the actual tour bus on tour. So some kid out of Atlanta I never heard of until 10 years later would take my place on the Houdini tour. His name was Jermaine Dupri. He would end up taking my place on that Houdini tour. I say all that to say that I wanted to be in the public light, but then after knowing all these artists and seeing them out, back then where it wasn't about pictures, they would, you know, LL would be maybe sitting across the table from his wife having a nice private dinner. Maybe they were upset at each other, having an argument. People just get in his face and ask for autographs, and it was uncomfortable to see that. And then I would end up having FUBU and being somewhat in the public light, and I just didn't want to do that. So I had said that maybe, hopefully, one day I could be on TV and be more like, a newscaster, a Walter Cronkite or something like that, because, you don't see people walking up to newscasters going crazy, right? But the newscasters, depends on what kind of news you watch, they're giving potentially, hopefully, vital information to make you a little smarter, and I wanted to be that. So I took the job on Shark Tank, and I became that, but I never thought the Shark Tank would be a pop sensation, or, like that. I just thought it was going to be kind of like 60 Minutes.
Yeah.
So
in the beginning, I heard that you didn't believe in Shark Tank at all. You're like, this is stupidest idea in the world.
Yeah, because, listen, if somebody tells you, all right, you sell solar. If somebody said to you, hey, we're just going to record you trying to sell solar all day, I'm not sure how exciting it could be. I'm sure there's obviously challenges, but maybe I was too close to it. I'd be like, that shit ain't gonna work.
LL Cool J was on a Gap commercial, and he was wearing all FUBU. Yeah. And I think they spent like $30 million on the commercial. Then they took it down because FUBU went like crazy. Everyone was coming to Gap to try and buy FUBU. Was there a story with that?
So basically, this is why we kind of talk about the lack of diversity and inclusion in companies. The Gap wanted to get into the hip-hop market. They hired LL Cool J. He felt a little offended of the way they kind of addressed him, very much like, just come on in and do whatever that rap shit is.
No respect.
No respect, right? And so he put in the commercial, he wore a FUBU hat. He said, listen, I got a funny shaped head. I got a custom hat. He wore the FUBU hat. And then he said in the commercial, for us, by us on the low. Yep. The Gap spent $30 million airing that commercial. The commercial aired for about 5 weeks. And because they didn't have anybody, whether African-American or whether white or black or yellow, whatever the case is in the company that really believed or understood hip-hop culture, there was nobody in there to say, oh, by the way. And remember, social media wasn't out now, so there was no hashtag of Gap fail. There was no way to understand what was going on.
They couldn't pick up on what was happening.
They didn't pick up on what was happening. So 5 weeks later, it took them 5 weeks for somebody to finally say, you idiots.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so they fired everybody from the Gap. They hired a multicultural agency that they didn't have to do any analytics. They went back and was like, well, before you try to spin doctor this, clean it up, guess what? Everybody in the hood is going to the Gap looking for FUBU, and they can't find FUBU, and guess what they're buying? So the Gap spent another $60 million re-airing the ad, realizing that they could either take advantage of it or have egg on their face.
It turned into a movement. How many other companies, from your experience, because you probably watch it happen in real time, followed suit and were like, oh, wow, these guys are, breaking into this culture that we were so blind to?
Great question. A lot. Prior to that, I didn't create the urban market at all. I got inspired by a couple of companies, Carl Kanai, Cross Colors, Walk Aware, and a couple of companies before that. But FUBU took it to another level. And then after like the Gap ad and various other things, then everybody started coming out with brands that address that market.
You started a movement, all with the excuse.
I mean, that's what everyone does now. Everyone is like, just get rappers to wear their shit and then hope it goes viral.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
So you ever heard of the game Fuck, Marry, Kill? I'm sure you have.
I thought I heard it years ago.
So they got a bunch of different variants.
And what is it?
Fuck, Marry, Kill is like, and I'm going to tell you the spin on it we made, but you give like 3 people, 3 famous celebrities, say, who would you fuck?
Well, and marry.
And who would you marry? So like, you're 3, ready? We change it to business, bankrupt, and bubble baths. So who would you go into business with? Who would you bankrupt, and who would you take a bubble bath with?
Out of the Shark Tank cast.
Okay, cool. I like that. So who would I go into business with? I go into business with Barbara.
Okay.
Most brilliant marketer, trusts her instincts, really fun to be around. She's the epitome of an entrepreneur who's like, I don't need all the data. I feel good about this. Okay. I'll figure it out. And I don't have all the money. I'm going to find a way to make this marketable. That's the first one I'll go into business with. Okay. Who would I bankrupt?
Yep.
Lori.
He didn't even think about it.
Not even a question, because Lori is my biggest competitor. We're in the same space of consumer packaged goods, and if you look at the 20 of the best-selling products in Shark Tank history, Lori has 12 of them.
Wow.
So she is.
I didn't know that.
She is a beast. She knows what she's doing. Yep. And I want to kill my competition.
Yes.
And the next one was what?
Bubble bath.
You gotta take a bubble
Who would you take a bubble? You could put clothes on or clothes off.
I'm gonna take a bubble bath with Lori too. You know what I mean?
No, he did.
Oh shit!
She's
Gonna take a bubble bath in her tears after.
Lori, and by the way, Lori and her husband, I just be over there with my rubber ducky. I respect Dan, her husband, and I'm married, so we would just be having fun, obviously. But it's not challenging to look at Lori.
I love it. I love those answers. Not what we expected.
I want to do some rapid fire questions.
Go ahead, hit 'em.
Favorite kind of bagel.
Everything.
Favorite Biggie song.
Biggie song. I don't know. Was More Money, More Problems the Biggie song, or that was a Puff?
No money, more problems. Yeah.
Or that was a Puff song? No. Warning.
Okay. Ooh, favorite Queens artist that you were affiliated with when you were younger?
That's not a tough one. I mean,
it's not a tough one.
LL's the reason I'm here.
Boom.
You know?
Okay.
What's your dog's name?
Blake.
Got it. Can men get a manicure?
Absolutely.
Straight men?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Pool or ocean?
Depends on what we're doing.
On to a more serious note, 1989 on Good Friday. That was the day you realized you were going to be an entrepreneur, right? When you sold $800 worth of hats out in front of the Coliseum Mall in Queens.
You did your homework, man. I appreciate
tried
it.
to.
Thank you.
Of course. And then, exactly 28 years later in 2017, you had a very tragic event happen. I'm sure you talk about it a lot. Probably a lot of people know, but share the story and kind of what happened and what has changed.
Yeah, I went in to get the same Good Friday around 3:15 in the afternoon in 1989. I sold some hats and that had changed my life, and then around 3:15 on Good Friday in 2017, I'd go in and get a nodule removed off my thyroid, and the 1 hour surgery became 4.5 hours of removing a golf ball size of stage 2 cancer in my body. So that defined my life. It reminded me now of what I was really here for, to hopefully share with people the importance of going to the doctor and getting checkups. And this, at your age, thank God you're at a really great age, that you can make a lot of mistakes. But we have a lot of parents and family members who, they don't want to take care of themselves, or they think naturally they're going to be okay, and they're not. And what happens is they end up suffering, and they didn't have to suffer because there's a 65% chance that you can catch something in time. You can beat it. A lot of people are only thinking about this money and work, which is great, 100%. But if you don't have your health, you don't have any of that stuff.
Right. You said something awesome that I heard recently.
That?
You said, a man with his health has 1,000 wishes, and a man without his health has one wish.
I live my life by a lot of those simple things. To go back to it, it clears the clutter out of when you're overanalyzing something, and that's just the bottom line, right? A man or a woman with their health has 1,000 dreams or wishes, and a man without only has one. And you obviously know it way more, how critical it is, because obviously when you went through that life-altering challenge of yours, you probably had to drill down on what really was important to you. Because if not, you could be a damn alcoholic, drug addict, because you say, woe is me for why this happened to me. I'm not worthy of this or that, or I can't overcome these things. And when you realize you can overcome those things and change those things, nothing can stop you after that.
Right. You don't know how strong you really are until you're put in that position. And then you find out who's inside.
Yeah.
And then you appreciate too, like when you're about to lose it all. I mean, I'm sure you had all these thoughts. When you're about to lose everything, you realize what's really important.
Yeah, 100%.
How did that change your day to day? Finding out you were so, in that situation where it all could have went south.
Yeah, it changed my day to day, and the fact of I need to stay on my shit. And it didn't make me a perfect person, right? Yeah. But it also changed my day to day on explaining to people, more importantly, what the value of their health was. So even like now, I go through this thing called my fitness journey, where I keep showing people I've dropped a couple of pounds. But the more important part of my fitness journey is because I thank God is fortunate enough to have the best medicine and the best doctors around. I want to show people when I'm slipping, because what happens is, you're going on this fitness journey and you eat a bunch of bad shit one day.
Yep.
You go, oh, fuck, man, I'm off my diet. I'll start again next week. No, start again tomorrow. It was okay. You just had some fucked up shit. Yeah. It's okay. Right. Because I find the people that go all the way hard one way or another, they just fall off the cliff really hard. Yeah. And this fitness journey I'm on, in the last 5 years, I've started this and had false starts at least a dozen times. Yeah. And I may fuck up again in another month, but I want people to see that. Now also while I'm doing that, I'm also holding myself accountable when I put it out there, because people go, hey, how's the fitness journey going?
Exactly.
While you're eating a Krispy Kreme donut.
Yeah, and I'd be like,
Isn't that just like business though too? Because people think, oh man, this man is so successful, but you could probably count your failures 10 times more than your wins.
My failures are 10 times more than wins.
Right. And that's how you become successful, is you get back on the horse.
Just get over it. Move
Funny
on.
how those two things coincide so well, though. I feel,
It is.
People only see you when you're fit and you're big.
Yeah, and they don't see you in the gym.
You got like that, but they didn't see you cheating and getting back up and not saying, I'm going to start again Monday.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to go run this donut off right now.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%.
I like it. And I like how you said you post it because, when you put it out in the world, you become accountable to it. You have no choice.
People take themselves too serious. I mean, honestly,
big fat.
yeah, like nobody really gives a fuck about you.
Nobody.
Like why? Like how you think how great you are. Nobody really cares. They care about what's in it for them, but don't take yourself too serious. It's not that serious.
100%. We got you answering questions about bubble baths and shit on our podcast.
Yeah. I mean, you can't play like that necessarily.
Yeah.
If you're a politician, you have responsibilities, but in certain environments, don't take yourself too serious.
Right.
100%.
Nothing so serious. That's how I live my life, man. I'm just a clown all the time.
Look how he's dressed. His
You're in on it.
up.
Hey, but as long as you're in on it, man, it's all good.
You've really been starting your YouTube journey, your social media. You've really been pushing it a lot lately. And I think back in 2020, you did an episode where you reacted to your Shark Tank moments, and it went super viral. How has, you were talking about being on social media and keeping yourself accountable. Do you think it's important to be on social media now? Do you think it's toxic? I know a lot of people, they're addicted, dopamine hits. Do you think people should build their social media brand, or how do you?
100%.
Okay.
You have to. I mean, everything is done within the borders of your availability to do it and what you're saying. But yeah, I mean, people don't realize that. Yeah, we look you all up on social media. That's what it is. So that's where your resume lays.
Exactly.
And people are too literal. A lot of people, I talk to a lot of kids, believe it or not, even my daughter, and I go, why you aren't on social media? Well, I don't want to, but if you come into my office and you just graduated college, I'm going to look on your social media. One of my daughters are going to be in her master's in architectural design, right? Wow. She'd probably go, well, I don't want to be on social media dancing around or doing this and that because people won't take me serious. You don't have to. Why don't you just put up amazing buildings and sculptures that you see and tell people where maybe this concept have come from, where this inspiration has come from. And if you did that once a week as an employer, potentially in 2 years where I'm like, let me see what this young woman's about. Yeah. Now you have 100 and some odd posts where you're showing yourself talking about what drives you, what doesn't. And if I look at that and I look at a lot of stuff you say, I go, oh, you know what? I agree with this young lady. Yeah. You don't have to be running around dancing and singing and shit. So I think social media is free. Of course you can pay for it if you want to do more, but it's your resume.
No.
Right.
How much time do you have? I know we're getting close.
3 minutes left.
Okay. Let's get into some.
Oh, you mean on the camera?
George just told us we got.
You got 3 minutes.
Let's do 10 more minutes. We're fine.
In the retail industry, which you've been in your whole life, where you started, where you still are, there's a lot of upfront capital needed or upfront credit needed. I'm super big on credit and debt, and that's how you could really build wealth and excel at real estate, whatever it might be, leverage. What do you think of debt and credit in that game? And do you think it's smart for people to get into it? Should they stay away from it? What's the importance of it to you?
Well, there's good debt and bad debt. I mean, there's debt that you are acquiring because the debt you're acquiring, somebody else is paying it off, right? You buy a home, you know that all cost, amortization, everything else is $2,000 a month, and then somebody pays $2,200 or $2,500 a month. Yep. And then, you obviously you take the losses on where you say things are obviously, you have to repair. And then hopefully a couple of years, that property is worth double or triple, and then you pull out the equity or the cases. And then there's bad debt. I want to buy more inventory. Well, you don't have sales, but I want to buy more inventory. I want to buy more commercials. I want to, so debt can be, money is something that either highlights your strengths or highlights your weaknesses. Yep. If you have a system of employees or you're advertising and marketing and it's a slow conversion rate or not a good conversion rate, we'll buy more of that. It's just going to highlight a poor conversion rate.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So, yeah, credit is the way that the world works. It is something you cannot live without. Credit is needed. So it's how you do it. I mean, money is just a tool. It's a pretty simple tool. Numbers don't lie, so you got to figure it out.
What do you think of the market right now? The whole economy, everything. I know there's inflation, there's the interest rates, there's real estate, there's everything. What do you think of it right now? What do you think
as a whole in what? What do I think about what?
I want to know where you
have
think a
this big...
safe place to put your money is right now.
Yeah, I guess. What's your advice on what you would do then?
My personal advice is the stock market.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Buy while it's on sale.
Buy while it's on sale. You're right.
Which it is right now. You think it's going to go lower? Or you think it's bottoming out right now?
I don't know, but I got to tell you, I'm going to give you my fine print. Everything I thought about the pandemic, every call that I made, 70% of the time I was wrong. So I'm not sure if you want me to give any advice.
We are not a financial
Stick
advisor.
to the business.
Right. But again, like you said, right, a lot of mistakes. But the 30% I was right. That way surpasses the losses, right?
Happy to hear.
So if you want, I always tell people, just have common sense when it comes to the market. The market is about 70 to 80% of the market trades are really ran by bots.
Yep.
They're ran by algorithms and bots. If we're at a point where gas is at all-time high, electric cars are great, and Tesla can't keep up production, and Tesla is 60% off, well, I think that's pretty obvious what you should do.
Yep. Super down.
If Amazon is split or Amazon is down, we're not going to just wake up tomorrow and say, we don't want boxes sent to our house. We're going to all just pack in the car and go to the mall. And if you think Amazon and all the companies they own, from Ring doorbell to Whole Foods, is just going to be out of business tomorrow, well, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
So if that's 50% off, well, if you put your money in it today and it just goes back, traditionally the market has come back in 16 to 18 months when it takes a strong dip like this. If you just put your money in it today, you will double your money, at least if it just goes back to where it was.
Yeah.
And if you put the money in today and you don't take it out until a year and a day, that's capital gains. You only pay 20% interest. But if you put it in today and think you're Gordon Gekko and trade it tomorrow, you pay 50% interest. So if you put your money in the bank as savings, you put $1,000 in a year, you'll have $1,004.
Exactly.
You put it in Amazon in a year, you would probably have $2,000 or more. Right. So I think that's pretty self-explanatory.
And you're talking about these good companies. I heard you say, forget when I heard it, but I heard you say something like you only invest in a business if it were to go away, it would affect your life, like these big businesses, like you're saying right now.
Correct.
That's how you
If Facebook went away, as much as people love to hate Mark Zuckerberg and hate Facebook, let him rip down Facebook and rip down Instagram and WhatsApp and see and Meta and all your pictures are gone and all your friends are gone. You will be kissing his pasty white ass.
Give me my pictures back.
To open it back up, right? And with them being so connected and having almost 2 billion connections of all of us, that data and that information, and they're about acquiring companies, they ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
I always like to ask someone this, and it's cheesy, but I don't really give a shit. Your message. At the end of the day, what's your message to everybody when you're talking to people? What do you really want to pass along to somebody?
Nobody has all the answers. Figure that shit out, right? Don't think that anybody else is smarter than you. It takes really common sense to operate businesses. A lot of people are too close to it, or they feel that somebody else is supposed to tell them what to do. Why? I mean, it's pretty simple as long as you're ready to work harder than everybody and figure shit out. Don't think that, don't think you need all this kind of money. Figure it out, I generally do. I don't do any podcast or any of those type of things when I'm not doing something, meaning like if I don't have something to promote generally, I don't need to be on them because I know that 3 months or 5 months of the year, I'm going to be on them because I need to promote something, right? Shark Tank's coming out, new book, But you guys start a podcast. I'm sitting in there minding my business in a bar and shit, and you come over to me and have a conversation. So first of all, you weren't afraid to ask. Second of all, you got me over here, and hopefully I'm going to be the lowest member of the amount of people you'll have after this, but it starts somewhere, right? And you didn't overthink it. Man, you want to come by? What was I going to say? What's the worst scenario? No.
Say no.
Well, you were back where you started, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you're an example of figure it out. I'm sure you have had to figure out a lot of things in life that most people, they think their life is, hard. I think we're the top 1% of the world, and somebody listen, how am I the 1% of the world? Well, there's 2 billion people on this planet that don't have access to electricity. That's 2 billion people. That means no lights at night, no nothing. All right? And a total of 3 billion people have no access to electricity and proper running water. Right? So now we got only about 3.5 to 4 billion
almost
left.
50%.
We're not talking about the ones who are suffering from disease, war-torn areas, living under poverty, drug addiction, and various other things. We're the 1% of the world. Right? So if you're listening to us now and watching us, whoever had a bad day, you had a bad years, right? And they should be able to appreciate and figure this shit out.
Yeah, it ain't that tough.
That's
It's
it.
the rule of KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
That's right. That's right.
That's it.
All right, well,
We really appreciate
Thank you, Daymond.
having you, man.
No, I appreciate
Everything you
you young
shared with
guys.
us
I
was very
appreciate
good.
it.
And you heard it from him. It ain't that tough. Figure it the fuck out.
Appreciate it, guys.
thank you, man. That was awesome.
That was awesome. We really appreciate you, man.
It is my pleasure, guys.